In this Diary of a CEO podcast, Seth Rogen discusses his experiences with the unfairness of Hollywood and the self-doubt that comes with being a successful entertainer. He explains that even though he has had a lot of success in his career, he still experiences self-doubt and is affected by negative reviews from critics. Rogen also talks about his upbringing, including his supportive parents who are also a bit eccentric. He notes that many Jewish families, including his own, have been shaped by trauma and neurosis due to their history of persecution. Regarding his career, Rogen emphasizes the importance of not quitting, even when faced with rejection. He talks about how no one wanted to make Pineapple Express at first, but by persisting, he and his team were able to get the film made. Throughout the conversation, Rogen emphasizes the importance of hard work and family support in his personal and professional life. He emphasizes that the industry is not fair and that it is luck and connections oriented. However, he also suggests that being good at one's craft, working hard, and being a person that others want to be around can increase one's chances of success. He notes that hard work is something that one can control in an uncontrollable world and that it is essential to work harder than the competition. Rogen also touches on the idea of having children and how it can impact one's happiness and success. While some people want children, others have them without thinking it through. Stephen Bartlett and Seth Rogen discuss their decision to not have children. They both explain how they are happy with their choice to not have children because it allows them to focus on their prime years and achieve success in their careers. Rogen notes that he can enjoy more active activities and experiences with his wife because they do not have children. In addition, Rogen talks about his passion for raising awareness for Alzheimer's disease after his wife's mother was diagnosed with the disease. He explains how he and his wife started HFC, an organization that focuses on talking to young people who are caretakers for their parents with Alzheimer's. Rogen discusses the need for more people to talk about the disease because it is often stigmatized and not understood. He notes that Alzheimer's is different for everyone and observed that his mother-in-law forgot how to speak and do everyday tasks as the disease progressed. He notes that people are often scared to discuss mental health, but it is important to shed light on the dire impact these diseases have on individuals and their loved ones. This experience was particularly devastating for Rogen's wife, who slowly watched her mother deteriorate over the course of years. However, Rogen also mentions that through charity work, there were bittersweet moments of hope. He also touches on the impact of being a public figure and the pressure it brings. Rogen suggests that spending time with loved ones makes him feel most human and connected, and he attempts to limit his social media use to prioritize his well-being. He emphasizes his strong personal relationships with family and friends, and the joy he finds in creating things with people he respects. Rogen also discusses his passion for making things that he is personally excited about, and that he believes others would be excited about too. He describes this as a simple metric for success, the feeling that he has made something that he would want to see or use himself, and that he believes others would too. Rogen also discusses his diverse career pursuits, which have included both entertainment and entrepreneurial ventures. He believes that anything he creates is a reflection of his taste and sensibilities and that of those who work on it with him. He highlights the importance of making things that he and his team are excited about and that they believe in, rather than simply trying to please a mass audience. Despite this approach, he has been lucky enough to have his work connect with audiences and be successful. He finds excitement in taking risks, making subversive content, and making it connect with audiences. Seth Rogen explains that he is good at switching gears and compartmentalizing when it comes to writing, and he can work on multiple projects in one day. He shares early versions of things with people he trusts, and is not precious with his writing, rewriting it instantly and doing multiple drafts. Writing movies has become a fluid part of his day, and he feels his personality is engineered around writing and making movies. Rogen is also very regimented when it comes to his schedule, usually knowing what he'll be doing months in advance. His fame and success were never a goal for him, so it hasn't caused any decline in happiness. While he acknowledges that fame can have negative aspects, he has had a relatively good relationship with it, and has been able to work with filmmakers he admires and pursue creative projects that he is passionate about without feeling constrained. Rogen also talks about his wife, Lauren, who he has been with for 17 years and who has been a positive influence on his work. He credits her with coming up with the idea to portray a married couple that actually likes each other in their movie Neighbors, which was a departure from the typical comedic dynamic in movies. Rogen also values his relationship with his wife and prefers to stay close to her, even while working on movie projects, by staying in LA and spending time with her rather than traveling to other cities. Seth Rogen about the importance of community and working with people you care about. Seth shares his personal experience of growing up in a community-oriented household, and how he carried that mentality with him when he moved to Los Angeles. He mentions how, as a comedian, he feels a sense of belonging with other comedians, and how this has helped him to create a work community of people he's known for a long time and cares about deeply. Stephen then introduces a new tradition on the podcast, where guests pick a random card with a question to answer. Seth draws a card asking, "What is the greatest gift another human has given you?" and jokingly responds with, "I got paid a lot of money to make Green Hornet," before quickly adding, "It was love though, for sure love." In the next portion of the podcast, Seth Rogen talks about his family background and upbringing. He explains that his father was a socialist and moved to Israel, where he met Rogen's mother, who then moved to Canada. Rogen describes his father as having obsessive-compulsive tendencies, along with Tourette's syndrome. Rogen himself also experiences some symptoms of these conditions. He grew up in a small apartment with parents who did not have a lot of money, with his mother working as a social worker and cashier and his father working at a vocational college. Despite their financial struggles, Rogen explains that his parents did not place a lot of emphasis on money and taught him not to fetishize wealth. However, he also explains that as a child, he was afraid of being broke and felt worried about the family's finances. Despite this, Rogen had a strong creative drive from a young age and was fascinated with movies. His parents were also big movie fans and would often take the family to watch films or rent movies. Movies became an integral part of Rogen's upbringing, and he fell in love with them at a young age. Rogen knew that he wanted to pursue a career in comedy and movies at a young age. He saw stand-up comedy as a means to an end to get into sitcoms and eventually write movies. Even though Rogen did not excel academically, his parents saw his dedication and work ethic towards his passion for comedy and supported him. Rogen's relationship with school was complicated. He states that he was not interested in the educational aspect of school, but he loved the culture and the interactions he had with his peers. He describes his high school experience as an adventure, attending parties, and trying to hook up with girls. Rogen went to a public high school in a big city, which provided a lot of adventures and experiences that he found hilarious. Although he did not put much stake in doing well in high school, he loved the things that happened there. At the age of 15, Rogen went to a Canadian comedy festival, where he competed and did well. He recalls one instance where he was auditioning to get into the Just for Laughs festival in Los Angeles, and Jerry Seinfeld showed up unexpectedly, replacing Rogen's spot to go up on stage. He mentions that he performed after Jerry Seinfeld, who got a standing ovation, but he himself bombed horribly and did not make it to the festival. He later admits that doing stand-up comedy was good enough for him to pursue despite its ups and downs. He compares his experience to playing sports in high school, where there are stakes and ups and downs, but he was good at it and progressing in the right direction. The conversation moves on to the topic of making people laugh, and Seth Rogen admits that he never had a dark origin story like some comedians have. He thinks that it was something he liked, was good at, encouraged, and fostered to do from a very young age. He considers himself lucky to have found another person his age who shared the same passion for comedy. He attributes his success to factors like his parents being fans of comedy, being from Canada, a place that acclaims and respects comedy, being from Vancouver, where they make movies, and having an environment that bolstered his ambition. Seth Rogen also mentions that he loved sitting with Evan and writing a movie more than doing stand-up comedy. He explains that writing Superbad was frustrating because he was not sure if it would ever get made, but he loved it nonetheless. Seth Rogen's experience shows that pursuing one's passion requires hard work and perseverance, but it can be a fulfilling experience. Seth Rogen recounts his experience being the breadwinner of his family at the age of 16 when his parents lost their jobs. He reveals that working on the television series, Freaks and Geeks, and Undeclared, gave him financial stability, and he was more than happy to provide for his family. According to Rogen, the financial pressure that once drove him to work hard dissipated quickly, and he found himself unemployed for years after working on Freaks and Geeks and Undeclared. During that time, Rogen continued to write, and with the encouragement of his colleagues, he co-wrote Pineapple Express. However, he faced difficulty in getting his scripts accepted and considered it the worst part of living in Hollywood. Seth Rogen discusses his journey with self-doubt, and how it is common among all creative people, even those who have reached high levels of success such as himself. He explains that putting oneself out there and caring about what one does inevitably leads to self-doubt, and the worry that others will reject them or their work. Rogen highlights that creating something that is well-liked can boost self-confidence, whereas creating something that is criticized can cause one to doubt their abilities. He also mentions that criticism can be devastating and personal, and it can take years or even decades to recover from it. Rogen shares his own experience with criticism by mentioning the criticism he received for the movie Green Hornet. He explains that while it can be difficult to receive harsh criticism, life goes on, and the fact that he has already been hired for another job helps alleviate some of the fear of being rejected. He also explains that while The Green Hornet received negative reviews from critics, it still opened to a large amount of money and did well. However, the interview was a different story, with people taking joy in bashing the film and questioning the types of people who would want to make such a movie. Rogen describes the feeling of personal rejection and being creatively and conceptually attacked. He admits that he used to carry these negative feelings with him for much longer, but he has since learned to deal with them better. He highlights the painful paradox of creativity, where making something challenging or original can yield both exceptional success and potential failure. He acknowledges that this feeling of self-doubt and imposter syndrome is not unique to him, and that it is comforting to read about others who experience it too. Despite the challenges, Rogen asserts that he has never found it hard to take creative risks and put himself out there because he sees the value in trying, even if it means potentially facing rejection. Rogen believes that it is important for creatives to take risks and make big swings in their work. He sees the fact that they get to create movies and TV shows as a privilege, and they should take advantage of the opportunity to create something memorable. Rogen is motivated by his love for writing and enjoys the process of creating. Writing is a huge part of who he is, and he has been doing it for most of his life. He feels that he is surrounded by people who believe in him and encourage him when he has moments of doubt. Rogen also reveals that he has Tourette's and ADHD, which he admits can be challenging at times. He describes Tourette's as a compulsion disorder that manifests itself in physical tics and twitches. However, he does not feel like it has had a significant impact on his work. Overall, Rogen's love for writing and his desire to push boundaries and be creative drives him in his work. Seth Rogen talks about how his understanding of cinematic storytelling, which he developed from a young age, has helped him in his career as a writer and actor. He credits his success to a combination of innate passion, hard work, and growing up with parents who appreciated movies. He says that he understands the big picture of a story and how characters should affect it, and mentions that he views his acting through a writing lens, which allows him to work well with others who are better actors. Towards the end of the clip, Bartlett asks Rogen for actionable advice he could give to struggling creatives in any field, to which Rogen suggests working hard, having innate talent, and being fortunate to find someone who shares the same skill. Rogen states, "From a very young age, I had an inherent understanding of cinematic storytelling and that specifically from a writing standpoint from how the movies were written, which helped him become a successful writer and producer." He believes that his understanding of how story works helped compensate for his acting ability. When asked about advice for young creatives, Rogen suggests that they should work hard, have passion, and also be fortunate enough to find someone with the same skill set. Check out the full podcast by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for listening to this podcast summary episode of the Pod Slice.